You're going now, right. Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on YouTube. Dave here in the garage, Area 51 bomb truck. This week, as the thumbnail suggested, we're going to be sorting out the electronic trunk release or boot release as we call them here in New Zealand. But before we do any of that, we've got to do all that stuff. So we've got to do some little bit of rattle can bracketry painting and stuff like that. Wanted to get that sort of done and out of the way because I had to do some of that to do this boot release thing. Yeah, so we'll get through some of that sort of stuff, a little bit of Toyota action, don't miss that, and then we'll get on to this electronic boot release. So, electronic, well it's electric, it's not really electronic, it's got a little thing that goes like that and it makes it go. So, let's get into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, hit the notifications bell if you want to get notified. That'd be awesome. Buttons down here in the corner throughout the whole video, I think. Anyway, do that. This week we've got a bunch of smalls to do. This is the nitty gritty of building a car, and got a whole bunch of little things to sort of re-recognise. There's one thing in particular that I've made and I can't remember what it's for, but we'll paint it and then we'll figure it out. Okay, so if you've been following the channel for a while, you might recognise some of these things, you know, that I've made for this car. This is for the wiper conversion. I should have primed this when I did it like 2 years ago. Now it's flashed off and needs clean. These brackets are for the gas strut setup on the hood. This overflow catch can, I think. Brackets for the radiator, for the electric fan. That's a battery tray or battery hold down. That goes maybe something to do with that, I think. God, I can't remember. I thought that was something to do with that. Maybe it's not. Oh no, that is. Maybe that. Oh, this goes. Yeah, that way. Yeah. This, can't remember what it is. Obviously, it's going to be visible because it's got like speed holes, and I spent lots of time scientifically calculating that out and getting this one off center, but it's alright. And this thing, again, I can't remember what that is, what it's for, but I'll paint it. This thing here, I don't know what that is, but I made it and I'm going to paint it. This is a tray for the ECU, the custom license plate bracket, and this bracketry here that holds the pedal assembly up under the dash. That's all going to be taken off of there and painted, and I'll probably repaint the pedal as well. Oh, and these vent doohickeys, they need to clean up in a paint. So this is kind of what I'm targeting at in this video. Some of it I just have to kind of give it a bit of a scuff down and I can pretty much paint it. Other stuff obviously is going to need a little bit more of a theme too, to make it kind of presentable. Like this thing here, you can't see it, but I'll still have to try and clean as much of that off as possible, maybe rust fix it. Most of the other stuff I think is just really a scuff and paint. So yeah, let's get at it. I'll get at it, some of the stuff that's in raw steel first, I think, and get some primer on that stuff. Okay, let's do it. Just going to start with these little brackets here just to give them a bit of a key to stick to. Probably could use a roll lock on these, but the roll lock might be a bit aggressive. I can't remember how visible these are. Yep. Alright, I might use a roll lock on this, get the worst of it off and do it. Compressor. Okay, so this is a bracketry thing that I made up. I got my mates to CNC cut on their plasma cutter once I'd sort of designed it, and then I just folded it up and welded it together. Now this is kind of helps mount this and brace the pedal assembly up under the dash. It ties it to the dash rather than just the firewall. I had to do it all in a way that I'm not cutting and welding on any of this brake stuff, because our low volume certification things, they're real funny about modifying like OEM brake stuff. They're real weird on it. Even if you buy aftermarket pedal assemblies and stuff, they want you to get them x-rayed and all sorts of shit. But OEM welding, they're happy as. But so this is a pedal assembly out of a VZ Holden Commodore. Same with the booster. The pedal's a little on the short side, but it's gonna have to do. I'm going to paint from there down. I'm not going to paint all of this because I don't want to look like I'm hiding anything from the cert man, if you know what I'm saying. So this will just get a bit of a, maybe a bit of a Scotch Brite and just some rattle can black over the top of it again. This, it's not too bad. It's not really even flashing off that much. So this will just get a bit of a whiz over with a roll lock and do the prime and paint kind of business. Doesn't have to be pretty, just want to have it not rust up and stuff. So I'll get going on. I might put those bolts with my pedal rubber somewhere safe that I'll over there. So I'll get ahead, give this a whiz over the roll lock, get some primer on this as well. I think I figured out what this is. I think this is a bracket that goes under the dash that holds up my fuse panel, my wiring harness and stuff on just under the driver's side. I think that's what it's for. But yeah, I'm going to paint it black. It's got a bend in it and it looks odd. It looks like it could be the sort of thing I did for fitment, or it could be it's been damaged. I've dropped something on it when it's been in the back room, so I'll just do a little bit of checking before I commit to painting it. I might have to straighten this little kind of bend out there. It kind of looks like it might be intentional, but on the safe side I'll check under the dash and just see. Do that now before I forget. Okay, I was correct. It is the fuse panel bracket, and that little bend up in the corner is supposed to be there. It's the way it sits up under the dash, and I think that's to avoid a what do you call it, the part of the dash area, somewhere in there anyway. So I'm going to paint it black. Alright, just doing a dust coat on this, but I'm doing this in satin. Everything else I've done in gloss. For some reason, because all the other brackets are all kind of underneath or under in the engine bay and stuff like that, whereas this is on the outside of the vehicle. So I'm doing this in a satin black, and I'm sort of thinking I might do some satin in the grille stuff as well. Got to remind me because I'll probably forget. But yeah, so just let this flash off a bit before I go pouring it on and getting runs. I ran out of the first spraying enamel that I was using, which was going on like super nice, and switched to the Rust-Oleum high gloss and got runs. Seems to be a bit easier to get runs and that stuff, so yeah. Anyway, I'll wait for this to flash off a bit like now, and we can coat it. Trying to get in this back stuff tricky. Look at that. Yeah, so that's that other stuff. That's dry already. Wicked stuff. I might buy some more of that. But leave that to dry, and I've got a whole washing line of stuff over here hanging up over the. Fortunately, that's the only thing that will hit the Area 51 if it falls, so we might move that. Battery tray, I've got it hanging like that because I was getting runs on the inside, hanging it sideways, and so I've kind of flooded it and hoping to fill up all the mess. And yeah, it's hard to see, but yeah, all the other stuff just kind of hanging up to dry and whatnot, so we'll leave all that for now. Some of it I won't be using for quite a while anyway, but I just kind of want to get some of that kind of background stuff just prepped up, ready, nitty gritty stuff done, so when we get into those areas, all the parts are just bolt on in theory. Still got bumper brackets, I forgot about those. I pulled them out so I wouldn't forget, but we won't do those today. They're a bit more involved. It'd be really nice to have a sandblaster. Got to paint the booster as well. I'll show you in the little back room as well. There's a heap of stuff in here that still has to be painted. We've got headlight buckets, we've got sill plate things, cable runners. This is stuff from the boot. Still got to do the radiator. I want to paint that black, but I've got to get a bung welded into it. I've got to do something with the quarter windows. These little half round looking things, they go up in the rear wheel arch up underneath. I don't know why they have an access panel there for. I guess maybe easier to straighten out or rust proofing or something like that, but keep forgetting about them. I've got to paint them and put them in. I need to stone guard them as well. Yeah. This is a pile of parts that all have to be gone through. We've got window regulators and all sorts of crap. The bumper, which has now got this tape stuck to it, so I'm hoping some kind of solvent will take that off. Yeah. That was me trying to protect the chrome way back when I bought that bumper, and it was a good idea at the time, but I probably shouldn't have left that tape on there quite so long. Anyway, that's it for today. It's actually Sunday. I just not long finished the last video and I thought I'd start another one. Paperboy on an e-bike. But yeah, so yeah, till tomorrow, next day, or something like that. Probably Saturday. Unless I come down during the week and do a little bit of farting around down here with some of this stuff. Probably put some of that stuff away. And yeah, see you then. Hey guys. Okay, so it's like nearly a week later. I started another video last Sunday. Chipped away at a couple of things during the week, but I didn't film that. What did I do? Oh, the little vent thingy bobs that go in the engine bay. Kind of resanded these two pieces here because they had a few grinding marks and that. I didn't actually prep them up much at all. I had them in kind of a black etch primer already, and I thought I'll just scuff them up and paint them. When I painted them, there was kind of like grinder marks and stuff in them in places that might be a bit more visible, so kind of giving them a little bit more of a sand back, using the black paint as like a high build. So I'll repaint those, but before I do that, I'm going to do my bumper brackets, get them prepped up. I've already scraped away some of the bitumen and stuff that was on the front brackets, and I've got to knock these bolts out that are rusted in there on the other one, and then these are the ones for the back bumper. I should have primed these before I put them away, because now they've all flashed off and I've got more work to do to kind of clean them up. So I'm going to hit them with the DA to start with and see if I can you know, with all the areas I can get to, and then we'll probably just have to do some hand sanding to get them all down to the kind of primable and paintable. They're just going to be black, they're nothing fancy, it's just a bit of wattle etch on there, and then some black enamel just to make them shiny and protected. Well, make them black and protected. I don't really worry too much if they're not that shiny, but anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so got my Duplicolor rust fix. Not sponsored in any way, but Duplicolor, reach out. My big channel. Just going to give these a bit of a misting with some of this, especially in these kind of harder to reach areas, just to convert that surfacey rust stuff to a degree, somewhat. They're not too bad really. Like I say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I should have put these into some kind of etch primer or something way back when I built them. These are brackets for the rear bumper, the 55 bumper that's going on the 51, and I'm using the original stock front bumpers. So that's that one done. I've done both of these now, so I've got to do the front ones now. They're going to be the real messy ones, because they might be. They've already got a coating on them, but they just kind of look scruffier. But they might smooth out all right, I guess. So give it a shot and see how they go. Oh, a bit winded. I don't know why. Anywho, get a new pad on the old DA and let's do this. Okay, so one down-ish. They'll be alright, I think. They're not perfect. I mean, ideally I would get them sandblasted and stuff, but you know, just time, money, all this kind of stuff. So a bit of time on the old dual action sander and a bit of hand sanding and then a bit of rust fix and that. It'll be alright. But they've lasted this long so far. I've got to get these bolts out. All this work. Ugh. Yes. Naughty. Just like that. Choice. I thought they were going to put up more of a fight than that, but don't know where they went. Got new bolts for that, so I wasn't worried about kind of protecting them in any way. But yeah, give these a bit more of a scrape and then sand this one up. Okay, so got the all the bumper brackets all in kind of rust fixed, and brought in the washing, so I've got all the various bits and pieces painted black all sitting in there and a few sitting in the boot floor as well. But we're going to get to some of that maybe in this video. I'm not sure really where this video is going at the moment. Yeah, a lot of painting brackets black, and I feel like there should be something more to it. Maybe I'll do the boot release or the boot rubber or something exciting like that. But yeah, so I'm going to let this kind of go off for a bit, then I'm going to squirt some what I call black etch on it, but it's not actually black, it's grey. I call it black etch because I used to buy the black version of it. Last time I went to buy some, they didn't have black, they only had grey. So it's just a one single stage epoxy etch primer, or they call it an epoxy etch primer, but yeah, it's kind of like just for like prepping steel and just squirting stuff like that. I wouldn't put it underneath automotive kind of finishes. It's all good underneath it's supporting paint plan, which is that wattle kill rust stuff, so it works good under that. I used it on all the interior floors and stuff because it works real good for that too. It's really good anti-corrosion properties, but yeah, no good underneath automotive finishes and that. But anyway, I'll let these kind of like dry off a bit, and then I'll come back, squirt some itch primer around the place, and while that's drying off, I've got to do an oil change on the mighty Corolla out there. The wife's going down to see her dad again next weekend, so I thought it's due for an oil change, so I better do it and yeah, keep the mighty Corolla going. 2 Toyotas in the fleet at the moment, so good kind of, I hate to say it, but good cars. Anyway, snort laugh. Anyway, I'm gonna go and have a cup of coffee with the wife. Back in a bit. Okay, so that's me bumper bracketry in primer. Now I'll let that kind of dry off while I'm waiting for that to happen. I'll drag the old toy motor in here and give her a bit of love, and well, you know, an oil change. Don't get weird on me, guys. Crikey. So alright, go and warm that thing up so get the oil a little bit warmer so it flows out a little nicer, and get this oil change underway. Probably won't film much of that because it's just changing the oil on a toy motor. It's quite straightforward, but it does have a special tool to get the thingy off there. That one has one of them to get the canister off, because it's a cartridge style filter. So I'll get into that, and then we'll come back when we're ready to squirt some black on these brackets, I reckon. If you look over the back there, that thing there, that's the filter cartridge, right about there, which you require one of these to get it off. And it's got a little locking tab that I just usually forget that it's there, and I struggle with it until I remember that the locking tab's there, and then I sort that shit out. But check that muffler out, man. I don't know if it's got a cat built into it or what, but she's a beast. Or is that the cat? I don't know, I don't think there's another muffler further back. I haven't really spent a lot of time underneath this car, even though we've owned it for about 12 years. It's been a really good little car for you know, the wife to run around in. She's run up and down the country a couple of times in it, and well, I've been up and down the country a couple of times in it. Only kind of downfall is that spiders love it and it doesn't get washed enough, and all the clear's delaminating, so it looks like shit on the outside. Round here, UV is so punishing on paint systems that it, you know, I've seen old lacquer and enamel paint jobs outlast modern paint jobs, you know, paint finishes and stuff, factory stuff. That there's so many cars around here that are just sunburned off the top, all the clear's just coming off in sheets and stuff like that. And that's, you know, at the time, this is a 14-year-old car now, so it's like the latest technology 14 years ago barely lasted 10 years before it started to, well, it didn't even last 10 years before it started to break down. It was probably at about 8 years old, we started seeing the roof kind of starting to fall apart. To be fair, it is parked outside all the time. But, you know, that kind of what kind of put me off these, you know, Harry Flash 2K paint systems. I mean, they're great, I think, for productivity and smash repair and stuff like that, but longevity, I don't know. Keep it indoors, maybe. Live in a different climate where the sun's not quite so kind of killer, then yeah, probably maybe as well. But yeah, just thought I'd yabber on about that while I was waiting for the oil to drain. So you check this out. I mean, like, it's been rain, it's raining now, of course, so now this is all just coming off in sheets, and the old bomb truck's sitting out there in the rain. It's supposed to be fine tomorrow though. But anyway, I'll carry on with this oil change, and then we'll get back on painting bumper brackets and stuff. just a little bit more, I think. These things take about 4 litres. This is a 5 litre bottle, so I'll put 4 in it and let it sit for a bit, let it run down, and then see where she's finally at. But I think she's pretty much on the money now. But yeah, relatively quick to do an oil change on one of these things. It's, even though you're gonna, you know, the Jeep you can do an oil change without jacking it up, but where the oil filter is, it just pours oil all over the place. So there's a lot more cleanup, and it's a shit fight to get the oil filter off with the my other oil filter thingamy bobs, ratchet things, strap doodads. But yeah, anyway, I'll carry on. Just having a look at the oil tray after dumping all that oil out. Can't see any metal or anything in there, but it is a Toyota after all, and she's a little dark and dirty, but I think I have to check, but I think we're a few thousand K overdue for an oil change on the old toy motor, so we'll update the records and call that done. That's enough about toy motors for now, okay? Okay, so that's the oil change all done, so back on to squirting some rattle can black around on some of this bracketry and bits and bobs and stuff, and then we'll sort of figure out where I'm going to go from there. Do need to paint the brake booster too. I wonder if I should just rattle can that. I was going to do that in 2K and make it all flash and stuff, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just rattle can it. Well, think about it. Okay, so rattle canned that booster, and it kind of gone all wax-eye and stuff, so I'm gonna have to let that completely dry off and sand it back and repaint it. I don't know why, but it might be my primer that I used conflicting with the old Rust-Oleum that I used on that. You know, it sprays on nice, and then it kind of just goes really weird. But anyway, we'll fix that up later. Now, this is probably what the thumbnail is going to be about: the trunk, the boot lid, and the latch mechanism. So if you go back, I don't know, probably maybe 2 years ago, I rearranged all the boot lock and stuff. Like the original boot lock on these is mounted in this area here, and the catch, just a little kind of catch, is bolted on down here. But because I want to, you know, deleted the boot lock, I have moved it so the catch is here and the mechanism is down there. Now, it took a little bit of finagling around to get it to work using the original boot latch and stuff, but I got it to work using a push-pull cable, and it was always real kind of tight and had felt like there was heaps of resistance in the cable, and I thought, oh, it's just an old cable that I used to get it to work. So I bought a new cable, a longer cable, with the idea that I would run it up the front and somewhere, and then I could, you know, push pull it sort of thing. So I hooked that up to it before I painted it, just to make sure it was going to work, and, you know, just to the latch. I didn't have it in the car, but there's still heaps of that kind of bind and resistance. So I kind of thought, well, if there's that much kind of resistance on there, a good chance I could pull it and it would just let go, and I'd be stuck with a boot that was kind of latched shut, or trunk, as you fellas know, some of you fellas anyway. So I kind of started revisiting the electric idea, you know, the actuator sort of thing, because the latch actually moves really freely and it doesn't actually require a lot. And I had this actuator left over from a central locking kit that I bought years ago. So it's new, but never been in a car, but probably 15 years old. I had it in, I put into my C10 back in the day, and it came with 4 actuators, and of course I only needed 2. So I kind of been revisiting whether I can make that work, and I have made it work with a couple of little extra brackets. And then since then I've painted all my mechanism and catch and extra bracket, and now I'm going to put it in and show you how it works. And I've got a boot rubber. Now it's not a factory boot rubber because they don't sell them here, so I've got some generic pinch weld type rubber which I think is going to work, but we'll get into that later. But for now I'm wonder if I do the boot rubber first. Probably should actually, because then I can adjust the lock, the latch, and that to hopefully work with the rubber and the resistance from the, yeah, we'll do the rubber. So let's put this boot rubber on. Alrighty, so this is my boot rubber that I bought locally. It's just a kind of weird little profile pinch weld type stuff, which I'm gonna put on this pinch weld all the way around here. So I'll kind of like center it here and run it all the way around. Now I know that's not how the factory setup is set up. The factory setup has a rubber that's kind of glued in this channel here, but to only about here where that pinch weld changes, and then there's a rubber that's glued on around the inside of the boot lid on the actual lid itself. Now I know you can order these from overseas and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'm from America or wherever, but they varied greatly in price and quality from what I can gather from the forums and things like that. And there's no guarantee it's going to fit that well because I have chopped up those corners. So I went to a local rubber kind of company called Para Rubber. It's a shop. They sell all sorts of rubber stuff and foam and all sorts of crap. Grabbed a couple of samples of are these them? No, these are different ones, but yeah, I grabbed a little sample of that profile of pinch weld, and I kind of worked around opening and closing it and stuff and trying to figure out where it was going to connect and if it was going to connect, and I think we're good. But we will have a rubber that runs along here. And there is a concern that it'll get knocked around and damaged and stuff like that through use. If that's the case, I'll just go and buy some more. It wasn't too expensive. It's about 20 bucks a meter, and I had to get about 4 meters, so about $80 for this pinch weld rubber. So that's my explanation and my logic behind doing what I'm doing. So let's get at it. Okay, so I can't remember which way I thought it was going to work best actually. Was it that way? It's like that. Could be. I think it was actually. So break this about half and half that way. Just like that. Done. And that. Go. Put a join in the middle there. This basically just pushes on onto this lip. Hopefully it'll go around this corner. It's nice and tight, so hopefully this works. I got this kind of pliable putty type stuff, and I put it in various places and closed the lid and then measured how much it compressed and stuff. And that's when I did that, and then I took off down to the Para Rubber shop and started comparing my measurements with the different pinch welds that they've got. And this is the one that I hope is going to work, because you can't take it back. And like I said before, I got a few samples, brought them home, tried it on in a few places, and shutting the trunk lid and stuff, and for the most part I think it should work. Like, I could see where it was compressing every time, even this bit down low here, it was definitely kind of like connecting there, so hopefully it'll keep the water out. Carry on. So far so good. Doesn't quite fit as tight on this upper rail because it's only a single thickness. It's not doubled up like the lower stuff. Right, I'm not actually sure the best way to cut this, so it's got little steel strips and that in it, so just do a little test run there. We'll get in between the steel, should be right. You can see in there, there's these little steel kind of clippy things that are in there, but they're all segments like that. See? That's how they work. There's just hundreds of those things in it. Just chuck that in there. The scissors should be right to cut it. Scratch. Come on. Hit the steel. Crooked as. It didn't cut very straight. Damn it. Might try a knife actually. Over my knee. Just one knee, single barrel. Screwed up the cut a wee bit, but be alright. Yeah, it's a bit of a bugger that I screwed up that, but well, maybe a little bit better. Yeah. That's the thing. Okay, flaw in my plan is that rubber catches on the hinges. I wonder if I can adjust it a little bit. Seems to be this side's worse than the other. Okay, so I took it off, spun it around so it kind of is up the other way. I think it'll clear my hinges and that alright. It's just whether it kind of creates a seal. I did note that when I had it the other way that it was going to take quite a bit of compressing of the rubber to actually shut the lid, you know. It's hard on the thumbs. Yeah. Okay, so it's on there again now. It's not on there super tidy, but I just want to see whether it's going to work. Oh, it's catching up there again. Definitely. Should not actually be a bit. There's a lot of dust on this thing already. Might actually be better the other way. I don't know. Let me think about it. Okay, so dilemmas, right? So when I had it round the other way and this little kind of hooked up lippy thing was facing up the ways, that's kind of mostly what was catching on the hinges, especially that side for some reason. But the boot lid didn't want to kind of come down. I know there's going to be a settling of the rubbers and stuff anyway, but the lid was getting held up quite a bit. It's not so bad now, like it's better, but it catches on that and it just starts pulling on that immediately as I go to close it. Well, once it gets down to a certain point. So I'm kind of wondering if I could kind of heat the rubber and push it back, you know, kind of like reform it slightly. I'm not sure whether that's a thing, a possibility. I do have this offcut, so I might get a heat gun and actually have a little play with it and see if I can rejangle the rubber somehow. She's getting crazy hot. I don't want to change its form. It's getting hotter. Okay, so after a little bit of experimenting, which you, if you're still watching, you've probably seen, I discovered I have no clue whatsoever about the constitution of rubber trim stuff, like rubber seals. So heating it didn't do anything other than kind of want to set it on fire. Flame heat especially, so that was no good. Heating up a piece of metal, basically in the name of that little clamp, that just kind of like burnt into it. I did get it to kind of change shape a little bit, but a tiny bit. Been experimenting now. I even tried solvent, tried some lacquer thinners on it to see if that would rush out. See if that would kind of soften the rubber, but nah. I mean, it's worth a try. So I thought maybe if I just cut a little window out where the hinges and that are, and try that. So I tried that, and that works. And I think when the boot comes down still, it still kind of goes whoosh, like that. still kind of creates, hopefully creates a seal. But I'm not changing the integrity of the vehicle, I'm just kind of changing the integrity of that rubber seal. So whether it works long term or not, I'm not sure, but yeah, we'll give it a try. I'll taken it back off again to try that, so we will. I've marked it. So I'll yeah, kind of cut some windows in there and see if that alleviates the problem. Scalpel. Okay, so hopefully this works, because otherwise I've just kind of wasted like 80 bucks worth of rubber pinch weld stuff. But yeah, give us a minute, I'll just get this back into place and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so 98% of the way there. It just seems to be catching on this hinge on the way back up, which is a bit of a nuisance, but it's catching down lower now, I think. There's a bit of a raised bit where the hinge was cut and welded, so could be that as my knee. Just single barrel again. Can I? I don't know, maybe a little bit of silicone spray on there once in a while will sort it out. Okay, so update. Pulled the rubber and kind of hammered back that lip a little bit. Something I kind of didn't really factor in when I did all the metal work and stuff back here, way back when, was getting the lip kind of all squared away, which I kind of is, but it kind of isn't as well, if you know what I mean. It's still just catching, but it drops back into place. So I don't know whether you can see it, but hang on, give me it. So it's just catching there, but then it just lets it go and drops back into place. So I'm going to leave it at that for now, and we'll see how that progresses over time, whether it starts pulling it off and making it into a nuisance thing, or whether it kind of just self-clearances. I'm leaning towards the latter, because yeah, but other than that, it actually looks like it's going to work quite well. It's just that little bit of clearance on the hinges on one side for some reason. It could be, you know, pin could be slightly further back on this one hinge bucket sort of thing, the bit up under the parcel tray. But yeah, so that's it for the rubber. I'm going to leave it at that for now, and then we're going to concentrate on putting this latch in place. So I'll get some tools for that. Okay, so this is my trunk latch or boot latch, and I can't remember exactly what my logic behind all this was. I know I made this piece here, and I can see I've welded the actual latch and that on. I must have cut some bits off as well. There's a video on the interweb of how I did this, so you can go and have a look at that if you want. But what I'm doing is attaching this actuator to pull, so when it's, you know, the boot's locked, and it'll just go chick it like that. So we'll put this in and see if we can get it to work again. Hopefully now it'll still work now that the rubbers are in place. So let's do it. Start with kind of just sitting this in place like so with the rod. Oh no, she fell out. My plan was, because it's a bit tricky to actually get the rod into the thingy. Now that everything's black, you can't see anything. So I'll try again. Might just pinch it up a little bit. There somehow. Take these out. Eventually. And this jammer here goes like this. Just like that. Uh-oh. Right, so, uh-oh. Did that come out? That did. Damn it. See if I can get this in by feel. Yes, got it. Okay, let's get these started so it doesn't fall out again. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, put some. Uh-oh. Push that up. Alright. So now, let's get a couple of these going. Oh, scratch. That's not the right size. Gonna do some temporary wiring. Just jam that in there. Now electrical tape it on. Empty little hole. Another wire here. Go on the other side. hopefully that'll hold for a bit. I might tape them together for now, just to make it harder to deal with when it all comes undone later. And I'll run these wires out of the car. There's a hole in the floor. Alright, bring them down there. Alright, just get that on there, and then where's it gone? Why is it taking 2 hits to do that? Definitely wired up the right way. So I might need to make some adjustments. I'll just do some adjusting so I can adjust it where the rod goes through in the back with a real awkward to get to bit, and I've got a little bit of adjustment on this plate here on these mounting holes. They're slotted. I might try adjusting it. Be back in a minute. Yes, right, so I've got that adjusted so that side of it works. The next real tricky part is adjusting that part. So I'll just clamp this down, make sure everything's tight so it can't come out of adjustment. Okay, so got that hooked up there. Just gotta figure out too far out. Oh, I think I might have it. Hopefully it unlocks. Yes. Alright, tighten that up because that's where I want it to stay, because that worked. Tighten, tighten. Choice, right. Just got to get the gas struts out, and I'll put the gas struts back in the back there. Right, now put these gas struts in. The only problem is I can't remember which hole they go in. I think it's that one. And then the wrong size. Back in the seat. There it is. Alright, done. Tighten that other one up from the inside. I think I've got to get in there and tighten it up. How did I do this again? scratch in it. Oh, cool. This is difficult. Maybe it wasn't that hole, maybe it was the next one down. Sure, I moved it up. Hang on, let me think. Gotcha. Oh, crikey. Okay, so I had the other side in the wrong hole. I did drill another hole after I took it all apart a couple of years ago, thinking I needed a little bit more pressure on it, but I'm not sure. I think what happened was the gas strut was too long for that, so for that other hole. Wrong socket. There we go. See, the wood fell out, so it's holding itself up. Wrong socket. Alrighty, so got that. There we go. Okay, it doesn't push the trunk lid up, but it doesn't let it fall down either, so you can kind of, you know, leave it sitting wherever. I may have to paint this thing orange or put something fluorescent on it, because like I brained myself something wicked on it before. I was like, yeah, the camera wasn't rolling, but yeah, there was, like, it was close to tears. It was this close. At the moment it's just catching a little bit on this part of the striker thing here. So I could knock it back just a scotch. Might try that actually. That well, misses now, it won't catch. Oh, crooked. Again, missing. Takes a bit of slamming to come out just a bit more. That's close enough, I think. Just touching on there at the moment, and that's okay because it'll self-clearance, but it does shut quite nicely. Okay, prove me wrong. There we go. And then, ooh. Okay, so it works. One of my concerns that I probably talked about in the video when I did this trunk release thing initially was that if, you know, the actuator crapped out, you're kind of locked out of the boot. And just by sheer fluke, more good luck than good management, there happens to be a drain hole right underneath here. So whoop, with just one screwdriver or something or other, as long as the air ride isn't collapsed, you can get in there. And that's kind of one of the other things that turned me off putting the battery in the boot. So if there was a total power failure and the thing was laid out, it's kind of hard to, you know, jump start it or swap out the battery and stuff like that. So I mean, if I have an issue with my boot release, I can still get in there mechanically, which was important to me. You know, I could even run a string from it if I really wanted to, and tuck it up under here and, you know, come out a hole and have just a string pull with, you know, a little bit of cable or something like that. Because all it has to do is just pull that little lever across and it lets go. And yeah, but essentially it works. And then, you know, how cool is that? Ta-dang! And I think my boot rubbers should be alright. It's a little bit of an ugly gap there. I didn't do a great job kind of cutting it, as you seen earlier. But I might be able to trim that bit down, and then we've just got a little join. And like I said, I just knocked my head on that. I would have liked it to come all the way up, you know, slowly come up to a full open, but to get more pressure on those gas struts, I need to shorten them, and then they get bound up. They get, when the boot's closed, they're fully closed and I can't actually shut the boot properly. When I moved it back, or I moved it up that one hole, but that's alright. I'm quite happy with how it works as it is. And the rubber essentially covers up that ugly bit of metal lip there it had rust pinholes and stuff, and I welded them up, and it was already kind of bent and beat up and that when I got the car, so I tried to straighten that out as much as possible. And then now I've kind of covered it up with the rubber. So how's that? She works. There's another rubber piece I need to put in this boot floor. You probably can't see, but down the sides here there's a gap between the guard and the inner floor, which is a kind of weird gap, but I have bought some rubber for that, because it normally has a rubber kind of molded rubber piece that goes in there and it's stapled and stuff from factory, whereas I've got a just a bit of flat bar, but it's rubber, and I'll be using that and either gluing it or screwing it into place. So I don't know whether you can see, that's my knees. Yeah, it's right up. You probably can't see anything in there, but where's my light? I'll just grab my light and I'll show you. See down there, there's that gap down in there. So I just need to run a rubber down both sides to close that up, so you know, important stuff don't fall out the boot, and fumes don't come up through the boot. Maybe shouldn't be that fumey, but then I've got to bunch of holes to put little plugs in that in. I've got some blank grommets, they'll probably be fine for that sort of thing. I have got the original bungs. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But the original ones are pretty dry rotted sort of thing, so might try some little flat grommets or leave them open. I don't even know why those holes are there. Don't know. But anyway, what's next? Might look at doing those edging rubbers now that we've got a functioning trunk lock, boot lock, sort of. It's the little things. It's the little things that get you excited. So yeah, quite happy with that. It works. It's not a huge boot, so yeah, can't put heaps of stuff in there anyways. But alrighty, so this is the rubber seal strip stuff that I've got. I just got that from the local hardware store. It's about, I don't know, 38mm by 6mm, just as a guess. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to use to go down the side. I'm going to try gluing it to start with and just use some of that rubber adhesive stuff that I've got. It's not going to the best surface though, so I don't really know how good that's going to be. Failing that, I might just run some, I'm not sure if I've got it, but run some little self tappers and stuff into it, and hopefully that will sort it. But I'm going to start on this side and use this side as a template for that side, because that side I've got to get around that vent tube there that's coming off the fuel filler. So I'll make this side and then I'll make a mirror image of it, and then I've got one little extra trim to do on the other side. We'll start with unwrapping it. How big of a piece do we want roughly? Oh, we'll start with that, I reckon. Bloody great battery in the way now. So what I want to do is kind of come along there. I have to trim a little bit out for that boot, that bumper return. So about 10mm out of there. How far up should I take it up there? Doesn't have to be that far. Trim this bit first. Maybe that's why I should screw it in. So I did think about kind of running it up the side, and then by the time I put screws in that in it, it'll kind of push it down like that, and it'll actually have it firm up against there. That might be the better way to go actually. I could glue it as well if I cut a little bit more out of that. How many screws would it need? That's gonna go like that. I reckon trim that up a bit extra on that, and that way it can continue to roll up that side. I trim that there, and then have a piece that drops in. I don't know how far, about there. like that. So that bit there will kind of, you know, drop in once it's screwed in, and then I can just tuck that, push that right through, and it'll sit like that once it's all tightened down roughly. Or I could even kind of poke it under like that, whichever looks better. Not a big deal either way, but something like that. Okay, so I don't actually have screws the right length, the right height, so I'll get this one ready. So just trace it off. Oh. Side 2. And tomorrow I'll go and buy some screws. It's getting a bit late in the day now. Alright, we're going to mark where that vent tube's got to come down through there. Right, so it's going to have to go down there. And this will be a test to see whether both sides of the car are the same. Oh, it's not bad. Not bad, mate, not bad. How much do I need to trim out of there? Not a lot. Probably only about that. Will that be enough to get it to walk up the wall? Yeah, I think so. So I've just got to cut that little notch out of there. Good to go. Right there, see? Cut. Okay, so that's them all cut, ready to go for tomorrow. So I've just got to get some shortish stainless self-tapper type screws, I reckon. Yeah, and then we can screw those in, hopefully not screw it up. I do have a whole bunch of these little these things, so I could drill oversized holes and put those in, you know, so you've got a bit more wiggle room to get them accurate. Or I should just get some self-drilling, self-tapping things and just ram them home with the old battery drill or Torx gun or whatever. We'll just close the lid on that for the night. Damn it, every time I try and show off it doesn't work. Till tomorrow. Hey guys, so next day, hasn't got off to a great start today. I thought I'd go and get some screws to screw that rubber stuff in there, and thought I'd go and take the old Jeep Cherokee, the Grand Cherokee, for a rip, just to blow the cobwebs out of the thing, you know. And I've had the battery disconnected because I left it for a few months and didn't use it, or a couple of months, and went out there and it was dead. So fully charged the battery and I left it disconnected. So I thought, right, I'll go and connect the battery, put the key in, click. That was it. Lights on and everything, power and all that sort of stuff, but no start. So I've got the battery on charge again, just to see whether that'll remedy the situation. If not, I have to start looking at the starter motor and shit like that. And it's like, someone just buy the thing, you know. I've got it for sale. If anyone wants a Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's a good truck, but you just got to keep using it, which I haven't been. So I've been commuting in a little Toyota to work, not the little blue one from yesterday. I've got a Toyota Ventus. Yeah, sounds like something science fiction-ish, but yeah, it's cheap. And the Jeep, it's not so much, but the Jeep is a really nice truck to drive and have heaps of grunt, but just a bit thirsty for just sitting in traffic, you know. So I thought I would unload that and just buy something cheap to run around in. But man, not a seller's market for a used cheap Jeep Grand Cherokee, that's for sure. But anyway, I got some screws. Trusty Toyota to the rescue. So let's get back into it. I'm going to screw these little rubber thingy-bobs into the boot hole. And excuse that thing humming away in the background. Up here, come on lads. Yeah, so I'm gonna make some holes in this to start with, so I get all my holes in the right places, and then we'll just go and screw these in. Just got to check that I'm going to put holes in the right spots, make sure I can get in there with a drill or a torque gun or something. Okay. Just marking where I'm going to drill some holes. Somewhere in there, not these ones because they're in the wrong place. Split polish. Yep, gonna put the holes in the right place, right side anyway. Whether they're in the right place or not, that remains to be seen. Okay, so I'm going to drill these, or I can punch them somehow. Alright, so found me a little tiny bit of hollow stainless steel tube, which I'm going to endeavour to make a little hole punch with. So I'm just going to need a little block of wood. I should just do it on the bench. Just do it on the bench. Gentle hammer. Got an offcut? Try an offcut. Oh, primo. That works just fine. Just like that. And it's all bunged up with rubber and bits of bench, so that worked. Cool. Alright, let's see if this is gonna... I kind of ideally want to have it kind of a little bit more kind of like that, if I can get the holes started with it like that. Which is going to be the tricky part, getting in here to do it. Got these self-drilling screws there. I'll give it a shot. I think that hole's actually in the wrong spot. Of course now, I keep getting in my own shadow. One in. Let's go to the next hole. Ah. Yeah, that'll do. Spacing isn't that great, but I put the hole for the end one in the wrong place, so had to shorten that up a bit. Alright, I'll go ahead and get the other side done, and that'll be more of a shit fight than this side because there's more stuff in the way. So I'll see you when I've done that. Okay, so got the other side in. It didn't go without any hitches, and I managed to chew up a little bit by accidentalness and whatnot, but I've got a perfect fix for it. Fixed! Yeah, how's that? Can't even tell. Okay, yeah, okay, but it doesn't matter. There might be like carpet and stuff goes over the top of that anyway. It's just a kind of a draft seal type thing. There's enough fixings to hold it in place. So yeah, so that's that next little thing done. Still pretty stoked with this. There's my knees, both barrels. Oh yeah, oh yeah. How's it going? Boot release. Yep. Okay, as you can probably tell, I'm a little bit happy with myself about my boot release. So it's really good to have a win once in a while that kind of goes kind of according to plan, and that kind of did for the most part. Like I said, I was just going to do the cable, you know, push-pull cable, and that had been on the cards for probably the last 2 years until the other night after work. I thought, oh, I don't know, I pulled out the ones that I bought and everything was stiff and binding and stuff, and so I thought, I'll have a look at this actuator thing and see if I can make it work. And I did, and I've got a redundancy, so that's even better. That was a fluke because there was just a hole in the floor which I hadn't filled in, and I kind of thought, I wonder if I can get a screwdriver in there, and, you know, which I can. So primo. So yeah, kind of lots of little, you know, black painting brackets and stuff in this go round. We've got all this stuff we painted yesterday. Oh yeah, she's dry. She should be. So that's all good, that's all done. The brake booster didn't come out so well, so I'll redo that. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave this video. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, share, comment, hit the notifications bell if you want to get notified, and that'll just tell you when the latest and greatest DMAC Customs video on the YouTube has dropped. Feeling a little smug because I made a boot release work. And yeah, so all that kind of stuff. And as always, thanks very much for watching and supporting the channel. Just by watching is supporting the channel, even though, you know, it's still a wee channel. But tell your friends, spread the love. And until next time, take it easy and peace.